Welcome to the Stay Paid Podcast, where we help agents and entrepreneurs master the latest business trends to unlock growth and create a life of freedom. Brought to you by Reminder Media.
Welcome to Stay Paid. I'm Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree.
And we have joining us today, as always, Cody Smith and Stephen Acree of the Acree Brothers Realty Team, the #1 real estate team in Lynchburg, Virginia. Welcome, gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
Glad to be here.
And returning to the podcast, we have a legend in the financial industry, Tom Hegna. Tom is an economist, author, and retirement expert, and is a popular industry speaker for many years and considered to be, by many, to be the retirement income expert. As a former first vice president at New York Life and retired lieutenant colonel and author of 6 books, Tom has delivered over 5,000 seminars on his signature Paychecks to Playchecks retirement approach, helping baby boomers and seniors retire the optimal way. Tom, welcome back.
Hey,
Wow.
Great to be back with you.
Tom, man, it is awesome to have you on the show. Don't you have a TV show on CNBC? Am I mistaken there? Don't you have a show?
Well, I last year I filmed a bunch of segments for Fox Business. They aired on Fox Business.
Okay, Fox Business. Okay.
This year I'm filming a bunch of segments for CNBC. And
Okay, that's maybe
those
where-
those are available if people want to do that. They can reach out to our office, and we do have a couple slots still available.
Yeah, it's awesome. I watched your episode with Cody Askins, so big fan of Cody over here with everything he's doing in insurance, and I thought it was an awesome episode. So, well done. I mean, you're, a stud when it comes to speaking, when it comes to TV, when it comes to obviously writing books. I'm curious because I want to dive right into the topic on retirement. People don't talk about it a ton. In fact, I think about the real estate industry, Stephen. You guys don't ever retire. Like, real estate agents are notoriously terrible for setting themselves up for retirement. But I'm curious, like, why is retirement and helping people prepare to go from paychecks to playchecks been a passion of yours? Why have you gone down that road? And then let's talk about retirement and how you can prepare for it.
Well, when I was at New York Life was probably about 10 years ahead of the industry on focusing on retirement income. Because in the 80s and 90s, I was focused on accumulation. And then New York Life started focusing real heavy on income in the early 2000s. And, I had to take a field force that was used to writing variable annuities, which are very sexy when markets are going up 20% a year, and then show them why they should write SPIAs and DIAs, which are pretty boring products, to give clients income. And that's where I had to really dig into the research of all the PhDs who study retirement. I learned about the miracle of mortality credits, because that is really a retirement miracle that people don't understand, where you get paid extra money from the risk pool. And so I found a lot of things that nobody really knew about, except, these academics that write white papers that nobody reads. Well, I read them. And then I tried to just put it into English. And that's really what the book Paychecks and Playchecks was all about, was taking the math and science, because there is an optimal way to retire based in math and science, not based on opinions. And that's what I write about and speak about.
So can you go a little deeper in that on, like, you're talking about there's an optimal way. I know we don't have hours here on the show, but what would you tell us as we're preparing for retirement, especially like I'm a millennial, I'm 36, Cody and Steven, what are you guys, early 30s? Josh, yep. We won't mention your age. What are you, 41 now? No,
43.
Yeah, 43. Okay, there you go. I kind of, but what advice would you give us as we're thinking about retirement and this whole idea of optimal?
Well, it's interesting is my latest book is Tom Hegna's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And that's for people your age. This is for people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s.
There you go.
How simple it is to build wealth and to become a millionaire. And people aren't teaching young people good money skills and good saving and investing skills. And probably the biggest tip I could give young people is you want to put the majority of your money into appreciating assets. Think about where most of your friends are putting their money: cars, boats, RVs, jet skis, stereo systems, computers. Those are all depreciating assets. They go down in value every day. And worse, many of these people are financing. They're taking car loans and they're paying interest on things that are going down. So they're paying more on things that are worth less. You'll never become wealthy if the majority of your money is going into depreciating assets. You want the majority of your money going into appreciating assets.
Yeah, that's a big focus on our team right now, because we noticed that as well. It's like you have so many agents making so much money. And when we started to dive into it, Like we're actually looking at one of our agents' bank accounts right now. Like we are literally going, he's segmenting out taxes, right? He's segmenting out just the income he can make to pay for the bills and then so on and so forth. But it just amazes me that this industry is filled with everyone doing that. They make so much money and they have no money to account for at the end of the day. And you can't keep up this industry like grinding the way we grind and not have any money to speak for. Like you'll be out so fast. That's a huge focus of ours.
And so many top producers that we meet with don't know their P&L.
Yeah.
Like they don't know the breakdown of their business and obviously you can't plan for retirement if you don't know the money that's coming in.
Yeah.
And
it's easy when you get a W-2 because my wife just pulled up her W-2 and she's like, I sent this much off for taxes and so on and so forth. But
no, that's just it has nothing to do with W-2. It's just your wife's disciplined. You're not.
There you go. Hey, I'm disciplined. I send my money to assets and I can't spend it. All right.
So then I'm curious, Tom, like when you look at, we're not obviously giving financial advice here, but I'm curious to pick your brain on I want to invest in appreciating assets. Like where traditionally would you tell, people like us to look towards to get the optimal and what's like, I don't want to, work 40 years for somebody, 40 hours a week, if not more, to spend the latter years of my life, 10 years, 15 years playing, finally retiring.
You want to play now?
I want to play now. So how do you balance that? Like, what is your advice to us in balancing that?
And that's a problem. I put some new slides in my presentation, and I'm going to be giving that presentation here. We're going to announce a webinar that I'm going to be giving. But one of the slides I had is turning your car payment into $1 million. And I show a $250 car payment, if that was invested at 7%, would be worth over $1 million at some point. And then I show a $500 car payment and a $1,000 a month car payment would be worth $5.4 million. And so there's these couples, they're each driving $1,000 a month car payments. That's $10.8 million retirement that they're blowing by trying to look wealthy instead of becoming wealthy. I tell people, stop trying to look wealthy and focus on becoming wealthy. The other thing I would tell you is that young people are too impatient. I'm telling you all, you're too impatient. People get frustrated if they're in their 30s and 40s and they're not rich. You're not going to be rich. And what I do is I use the rule of 72 to show this, okay? And the rule of 72 is how fast money doubles. So you take whatever your return is and you divide it into 72. So if you're getting 1% in the bank, it takes 72 years for your money to double. If you're getting 12%, it only takes 6 years to double your money. But what I would use with young people, I would use 7.2%. Why? Because it's a fair rate of return and money doubles every decade, every 10 years. So if I'm working with, let's say I was working with somebody in their 30s, they're frustrated, they're not rich, but between the two of them, they got $150,000 in their 401k, but they just feel like we're not making it. And I said, well, you are going to make it, but here's how it works. That $150,000 in your 30s is going to be worth $300,000 in your 40s. It's going to be worth $600,000 in your 50s, $1.2 million in your 60s, $2.4 million in your 70s, $4.8 million in your 80s, $9.6 million in your 90s. That's just that $150,000. You're going to be saving and investing. You should have many, many millions. All of you should have tens of millions of dollars in your 80s and 90s. But you all want to be rich in your 30s and 40s. You're not going to be. I'm just telling you, you're not going to be. So just understand that. Don't give up. It's the money that you save and invest in your 20s, 30s, and 40s that's going to allow you to be a millionaire in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. Have patience. It takes a little time.
Yeah. So well said. It's the instant gratification that people lose. Sorry, Steve, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just looking at it because obviously we invest in real estate. So we've got a portfolio of like 150 properties, but that is what the compounding effect of cash flow is a beautiful thing. It goes back to what you're talking about because you just take the cash flow, you reinvest in another asset that's compounding with the tenants paying down the principal of the property. But what would be one thing that you would invest in, like just practically, that isn't real estate? Like what would be the number one thing you'd go for? Real
estate is good, but I and if you want to come back to it, I'll tell you why people shouldn't put all their money in real estate. I've seen some problems, but diversified stocks portfolio is good. People thought I was hacked. I came out with a positive thing on Bitcoin about 4 years ago, and just so you know, I was the biggest Bitcoin non-believer there ever was because it's, what is it? It's nothing. It's a greater fool theory. You're going to find somebody stupider than you to pay more than what you did. That's what I thought it was. Well, then I watched Michael Saylor, I think on CNBC, lay out a believable case to a non-believer like me that Bitcoin could hit $1 million and more per Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And he said, all we're recommending our wealthy clients do is take a 1% position, take 1% of your portfolio, put that into Bitcoin. If it goes to 0, it won't kill you. And if it goes to $1 million, you're going to be happy you did it. Well, that resonated with me. So I put in 1% of my portfolio about 4 or 5 years ago, and that's now worth like $1.6 million because it's been by far the best investment I've ever made in my life. And I only put 1% of my portfolio in there. So,
It's
you know,
amazing.
to me, I think that makes sense. Just be diversified, but put your money into things that go up and not everything that's guaranteed to go down, like cars and boats and RVs and jet skis and all this other stuff that people are buying.
So, you know, the real estate agent, let's just say that's on our team who is grinding and is working 60 hours a week and doesn't have any time or feels like they don't have any time to invest. Maybe we convince them to store their money away, you know, save it until they can invest in that asset. Like what's the easiest platform to go to?
Like first thing you'd invest in.
I mean, just go to Schwab or E-Trade or just open up an account. I can buy my Bitcoin ETF there. I can have exposure to gold and silver and stocks and bonds and convertible bonds and real estate investment trusts. I mean, just open up an account. It doesn't take time. I mean, geez, I can do it on my phone in just a few minutes.
Well, I think it speaks to even the point you were making earlier is the problem with people is they don't have the discipline. So they want their get rich quick. They want it to be so easy that they don't have to do any research or do any work. And it's like nothing in life is that way. So even when you open up the account, the E-Trade account or whatever, you're going to have to do a little bit of due diligence or go find a financial planner, financial advisor.
Well, and I think it's important to work with a financial professional. I don't think retirement's a do-it-yourself project. I know this stuff inside and out. I work with 2 financial advisors because, I don't know which product from which company would be the right one to get because there's 87 different companies. They all have different products. They change them every 2 weeks. I'm not going to go sort through all that. I need somebody who can do that. I know I know basically what I need, but as far as the specific thing to get, no, I need help on that. And I think anybody trying to do it themselves is foolish. I know this inside and out, and I know I can't do it by myself. Okay. So I don't know why somebody who's, Joe Schmedlap, the plumber, thinks he can run his own retirement plan. No, you can't. You're going to mess up because there's so many risks in retirement. Retirement's not about, having a number, 1 million, 2 million, 5 million. No, it's about having increasing income for the rest of your life and managing risk. That's what retirement is about. Risk management and increasing income. That's all it's all about. It's not about how much money you have. It's not.
It's so funny. It's like when it comes to things like choosing an advisor and stuff like that, for a while, I ignored having an advisor. Oh, I can do it, all this stuff. And it's a huge lie that you're going to take the time to do it. Because, it's almost like ego because, I can do it. I can figure it out. I can, study the companies. I can study the stocks. And maybe that's true if I went to school and I did my, series test and I spent all the time, but I'm not going to do that. And so, but I think people get paralysis and don't do things, whether it's investing or even things in business, like hiring a marketing company or hiring the administrator. It's like, I can do that. I don't need to pay somebody to do that. It's like, no, what you're really missing is that you're not going to take the time because you don't have it. And that's really what you're paying for. You're paying to get your time back, and you're paying for the time that they spent to learn what they've done. And it's like, you're not going to compete with me from a marketing standpoint, not because you're not smart enough. You easily could probably figure it out and do it. But I've been doing it for well over a decade, 80 hours a week. Your chances of catching up to my expertise in marketing, it's like, that's what you're paying me for. And it's the same that translates to a financial professional. The only caveat here, and I'm interested, Tom, to hear your take on this, is AI. All of a sudden now with AI on the scene, now you got somebody smarter than Luke with marketing. What are you seeing with AI? Have you talked to financial professionals?
You want a financial advisor who uses AI. AI is not going to replace the financial advisor, I don't believe. But the advisors who know how to use it properly, that's who you want to work with. That's what I would say. And the other thing is, people can say, I can watch Kramer and I can pick stocks and I can do this. Okay, you can do that. But what happens if you need long-term care? What happens if you die and you don't have adequate life insurance? See, the average person isn't thinking about long-term care. They're not thinking about early death. They're not thinking about disability. They're not thinking about, inflation keeps going. What's going to happen if the market crashes and stays down for 20 years or 30 years like it did in Japan? That would wreck a lot of people's retirement, won't wreck mine. So you've got to put strategies in place to mitigate what if you live to be 120 and you run out of money when you're 90? You're not going to be happy. You've got to put things in place that mitigate the risks. And that's the blind spots that the do-it-yourselfers have. They can pick stocks. I bought Bitcoin. I can do this. I can do that. Yeah, but you don't have no risk. You have no risk protection. You're screwed if something bad happens, and bad things happen all the time.
Mm-hmm. So why did you say, going back to one of your comments, why did you say real estate is not the place you should necessarily roll your money?
Look, I own real estate, okay? I'm not against real estate.
Yeah.
All right.
Steven's don't knock it. No.
Here's all I'm saying. Real estate looks great in your 30s and 40s, and you're accumulating all these properties. And if something breaks, I'm good. I can fix it myself. So everybody in their 40s and 50s buys all this real estate. Well, then they get to be 80. All the tax savings are gone. All right. So now these are tax bombs here. Now they need a new roof on number 14. They need a new air conditioner number 12. And they say, well, I don't have to do that anymore. I hire somebody. And I say, yeah, who takes advantage? Who do you think they take advantage of? They take advantage of 80-year-olds that own 15 properties but can't remember what they had for breakfast in the morning. So all I'm saying is long-term, having a ton of properties may not be may not make you as happy in retirement as some other things. So have real estate exposure. I do. I have multiple properties, but I don't put everything there.
Yeah, it's so true, because who do we, target, guys, in terms of trying to buy real estate? We not in a bad way, not in a predatory way, but we're reaching out to these, 70-year-olds, the 80-year-olds who have portfolios going, you don't want this anymore. And that's where we're
getting are literally, it is in that age group. It's kind of crazy. It's all the baby boomers that we're getting properties from. Those are selling.
So that makes a ton of sense. So I'm curious, because I know we have a lot of time, but I know you've recently kind of taken more of a retirement in your own career, even though you're traveling. Like, you were just on the road for 2 weeks. I mean, you're an incredible speaker. If you guys get the chance to hear Tom speak, you will be blown away. I remember the first time I heard you speak, I believe it was in Phoenix, Arizona. I think it was at a True Choice event. Is where I heard you speak. You're a master owning the stage and delivering concepts. But can you talk about how to be happy in retirement? Because one, you're experiencing it a little bit yourself right now. What do you think that looks like of being happy in retirement?
Well, the Wall Street Journal plainly said the secret to a happier retirement is friends, neighbors, and a fixed annuity. And what they found is that the happiest people in retirement are people who are surrounded by their friends, surrounded by their families, who have guaranteed paychecks coming in every month. So policemen, firefighters, teachers, people with pensions. And by the way, pensions are lifetime income annuities. Social Security, by the way, is a lifetime income annuity. So people who have this guaranteed income tend to be happier. Time Magazine found the same thing. Lifetime income stream, key to retirement happiness, was the title of the Time Magazine headline in Great Britain. And they found that, even in a land of grumps, people with guaranteed lifetime income can find true happiness. The American College says when you have enough income coming in every month, you know what kind of housing and activities you can afford, allowing you to choose a lifestyle that makes you the happiest. And that really relates to me because, for 30 years, I was on the road 200 days a year. I'm a golfer. I could not justify a country club membership. There's a buy-in, there's dues, there's minimum food and beverage. It's ridiculous. I couldn't justify a country club membership. Well, now I have two. So I play golf here in the Phoenix area in the winter, and then in the summer we go up to Flagstaff where it's 35 degrees cooler, and I play golf up there all summer. And we've been traveling. We've set up a lifestyle that makes us the happiest. We did a Panama Canal cruise that was on my bucket list. We did a Mediterranean cruise for our 40th anniversary. We did a Caribbean cruise. In a couple weeks, sick. I'm going back down to Central America. Then in April, we're going to Australia and Singapore and Thailand. And then
are you speaking any of those times, or is it all just
no? These are all just with
fun.
My wife. And then we're doing the Grand European Tour on Viking in September. So like I am 70% retired. I play golf 4 to 5 days a week. But I was on the road for 2 weeks, so that kind of threw a kink into it. But so I do some speaking, but I'm trying to live the happy lifestyle that I write in. I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk.
I love that. Did you play Seven Canyons in Sedona? Have
I
you ever
have
played
played
that golf
Seven
course?
Canyons. Yeah.
Funny story, man. I was on a business trip for YPO, which is like the Young Presidents Organization. And I'm out there in Sedona. We're doing a mastermind thing. I've never played golf before. My first round of golf
No way. This had to
was
be
Seven
years
Canyons,
ago then.
Sedona, which was amazing because it's the most gorgeous course. I mean, the mountains, the views, just unbelievable. I've never played though. So it was a disaster. And I remember hitting one of the off the tee and landing on one of the other holes greens. And I go over there to get my ball. And the person there who's a member of, I guess, the club there, he goes, hey, if you do that, you have to pay for everybody's round on the course, right? I'm like, oh, God, I pick up my ball and start running. This is the last time I ran on a golf course, but it was amazing.
It's a pretty course. It's gone bankrupt a couple times because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and it's really hard for people to just, make that thing work. But boy, it's a beautiful course.
Oh, it is it's an amazing course. If you guys, Stephen and Cody, I saw you guys post on your Instagram, you were playing golf the other day. If you get to play there, you'll be blown away. The course, it's a beautiful.
We're heading next.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about the webinar that we have coming up, what you're going to be going over, because I want people to register for this because I think people are avoiding thinking about retirement because they're putting it as a future problem for future self. And it's like it's going to be a problem, and it doesn't have to be if you can start thinking about it now. Can you talk a little bit about what you're going to do?
This webinar is going to be good for all ages because I'm going to do both. Okay, so first I'm going to cover Don't Worry, Retire Happy. This is 7 simple steps based in math and science. This was my PBS TV special that played in over 80 million homes in the US and Canada. This will show baby boomers exactly step by step what they should be doing. And then I'm going to show the younger people, I got like 10, 12 minutes at the end where I'm going to go through my how simple it is to become a millionaire and how to be disciplined and how to put your money into appreciating assets and how to turn your car payment into $1 million. Just very simple tips on how to build wealth in America. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. And the website there's tomhegna.com/paid, PAID, tomhegna.com/paid. And that webinar, I will go over all of this. I'll answer questions. I mean, it's going to be a fun time, and we'll do it all in less than an hour. So it's going to be very efficient too. And I move quickly, but I cover a lot of information, and I promise anybody attending, it'll be very valuable. It'll be a very valuable hour.
Yeah, definitely attend that. We're going to promote it to all of our clients. There's no, we don't have any revenue share or anything like that. We're not selling any product or anything like that on Tom's webinar. I just want people to go because I've seen your stuff. You've been a thought leader in the space for so long. We subscribe to your stuff. We've had you speak before, and I want to get that in front of especially our client base and our listeners. All of you who are listening to this, chances are you're probably not thinking about your retirement like you should be, just because I know this industry and the industries we serve, and you need to attend this. And then think about this, what you're going to learn. You can also then go and connect it for your clients. All the clients that you serve, you can buy them Tom's books. You can point them to Tom's resources because they need it just like you need it as a small business owner. Your clients that you serve need it. So please go check that webinar out.
Love it.
How much is
Tom?
the webinar?
Say what?
How much is the webinar?
No, that's free. Completely
It's free, baby.
And just kind of some sub bullets. I'm going to talk about the importance of having a plan and working with a financial professional. We're going to show you how to maximize your Social Security benefits and get the most of those. I'm going to talk to you about the importance of a hybrid retirement, what I'm doing, kind of working a little while you're retiring, the importance of having increasing income because of inflation, the importance of having guaranteed income. I'm going to show you the research of the leading PhDs in the world who are unanimous in saying you need to have some guaranteed income into your portfolio. We're going to talk about long-term care. It's a huge risk. It's the one risk most people forget about that can wipe out their entire life's work. Using your home equity wisely is going to be one of the topics. And then how to pass money to children, grandchildren, and charities in the most tax-efficient manner possible. And then I'll talk about how to build wealth and become a millionaire.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested in is like I have a call with an estate planning attorney coming up here of just like all the tax strategies around trust and like how to buy properties. Like this is really for all of our people listening to this. You're involved in properties, insurance, finance, stuff like that. It's like if you're not looking at the tax code and the trust stuff that is out there that you can take advantage of for your business, you're missing out, because I'm already learning a ton of this for what we're doing here with Reminder Media. I know we have a lot of our properties, Stephen, in a trust, in a business trust, and what we're doing. But I'm very interested to hear what you say on that and get some more resources on that. So thank you, Tom, for coming on. This is awesome.
You bet.
Absolutely. Make sure to sign up for that webinar at tomhegna.com/pay. Tom, how else can people connect with you?
I'm pretty easy to find. TomHegna.com. Our phone number is 855-TOM-HEGNA. So we're pretty easy. I'm on all the social media. I encourage people to follow me. I post a lot of fun stuff and a lot of good research.
Awesome. Steve and Cody, thank you for joining as always. How can people connect with you?
Yeah, and first off, Tom, we're definitely showing up for that webinar, and I'm definitely getting those books. I'm going to get one for each one of our agents. I think that's really cool. But if anyone wants to reach out to us, I love real estate investing, and I also would love to show you guys how to compound that. So feel free to reach out. Any questions? Numbers 434-216-5306.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And we're going to include all of those links in the show notes of this episode, as well as the description. You can get those show notes at staypaidpodcast.com. If you like this episode and want to show your support, head on over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Drop us a 5-star review along with a comment. We'll read it here on the show. And the best way to support the show is to simply share this episode with somebody that you know. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can always message us and follow along on Instagram. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree. Tom, thank you again, man. Always appreciate your wisdom and your time being willing to share. Please attend that webinar. Here's my action item for everybody listening to this. You heard it kick off, right? You want to be a millionaire? You got to put your money in appreciating assets, not depreciating assets. And I would challenge you, as the action item, is to go look at your bank account, go look at your balance sheet, and ask yourself, how much are you investing every month in a depreciating asset, and why? Are you trying to keep up with the Joneses? Are you trying to impress people that you don't really care because you don't really want their life? And that's where we fall into this trap, is we're trying to impress people that we don't even want their life. So why are we spending any time trying to impress them? Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers is top producers take action. So take action on that. Sign up for the webinar. We'll see you there. Appreciate you guys listening.